Tenakato, tenakato, tenakato katua. Welcome to Kōrero with Vaishali, where everyone comes to love, laugh, live the moment, and inspires all to live our life in its authentic way, being the best version of ourselves. So today we are on Kōrero with Vaishali, elections for the throne, Hamilton. So, who we have today? Is that someone you've been asking for? Or is that someone who is already counselor? Or is that someone who is standing for first time? Who he is? Who she is? I know you all are excited. Let's find out who's that. So today we have Nand, who is standing for Hamilton East. So let's welcome Jenny. All right, what does her campaign says? Oh yes, her campaign says a community champion working for a stronger, safer, inclusive Hamilton city. That's deep. So let's welcome Jenny. Welcome to Kōrero with Vaishali, Jenny.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me here, Vaishali.
Oh, nice. It's great to have you here. And let's hear about what are your plans for the Hamilton city. All right.
Thank you. Before I begin, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I have lived in Hamilton with my family for the last 30 years. My parents came as migrants and they have worked extremely hard to install the cultural values in us, making sure that we don't forget our roots, but also giving us a sense of community in terms of the community we live in. We need to give back. So that's the values that I've been brought up with. And in terms of my career, I began my working life working for Hamilton City Council. I have worked with central government agencies as well, so cumulatively 16 years there. I have been part of the not-for-profit or for-purpose sector for the last 10 years, so I hold multiple governance roles, so I know how and what governance looks like. And my family has a small business at the moment as well. So we understand the struggles of a small enterprise and what it entails to be in a city like ours.
Nice. Yes, I seen that business thing yesterday from one of your posts from the expo.
Yes.
Spices one. That's nice. So basically, actually, I was going to ask you, tell us about yourself, your professional life and personal life. You already told us about you, who is Jenny. Thank you. So what inspired you to stand for council?
That's a very good question, actually. A number of reasons stand out for me. The first one is when we came to Hamilton, Hamilton has given me a huge sense of belonging. As a young person, it's shaped me in terms of who I am, not just in terms of my culture, but in terms of who and how I think. And thinking about it, my community encouraged me to stand because they think I can add a lot of value. I've got the skill sets, I've got the experience, and I actually have worked for Hamilton City Council before, so I know how local government works and what impact local government can have on everyday people. And unfortunately, at the moment, not many people are aware what councils do, what councils' roles and responsibilities are. And I think I have a two-tier platform. The first one is making sure that our community understands what local government does. And secondly is how can we make local government more efficient and effective with a very smart platform, I think, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to do, to bring what you all do. I would like to, bring this to the audience, exactly how council works and what you all are trying to do. What you all are trying to bring the best for the city. That's great. Thank you. All right. So you have mentioned about your strategies about managing debt wisely. What do you think you will be bringing to work on this one?
So actually, one of my platforms is financial responsibility. What does that look like? What does that mean? So there's a number of things. At the moment, we have $1.25 billion debt, which we are paying $63 million in interest alone. So what are we going to do? I'm going to be, if elected, if I'm lucky to be elected, I'll be one of the 12 around the table. So one of the things I will be prioritizing is having a 10-year debt management strategy. and making sure that that is visible to our community. Pairing with that would be in terms of balancing our books. Council hasn't managed to balance our books at the moment. We run in deficit. So making sure that we push for balancing our books, and together with those two things, there's two other things I'd like to do is have a financial dashboard. Financial dashboard means having a clear way so that everyday people can understand this is your debt, this is your income, this is your expenditure, this is how you are actually paying off your debt. So it's clearly communicated on a quarterly basis. So there's no room for error to misunderstand any kind of information. Together with that, what we can also have is a community impact mapping tool. So when council is investing money in any initiative or not investing money in any other initiative, what we can do is actually say what is the impact of that investment and what is the downside of not investing in a particular area that we need to. So community impact actually provides visual oversight to all of our community, not just community businesses across the sector, what we are funding, how we are funding, what is the impact of that funding. That way, you just take the politics out of it. It's factual, you can understand, and you bring a level of transparency, and you can build trust. At the moment, across my campaign, and I've been at the Women's Lifestyle Expo yesterday all day, the number one thing people tell me is, how do we gain that trust back? How do we understand the information that council, in terms of how the decisions are made? So bringing that level of transparency back in easy to understand way, so that you don't need a financial degree to understand how finances work. Council can make that information in an easy to way to understand that. So that would be some of the things that I would be proactively pushing for.
That's a wonderful one. Thank you. All right. How would you address housing affordability in Hamilton? What actions would you take?
Housing affordability requires a multi-pronged approach, actually. And at the moment, in terms of housing affordability, I guess be very clear around what is council's role, what is central government's role, and what are developers and other organizations, the role they can play. One of the things can... Do you need water?
Sorry, no. I'm all right,
okay.
Thanks.
One of the roles that councils can play at the moment is there are high density zones that are allocated, but the pipes and the infrastructure under the ground that we have is we've got aging infrastructure. So even if developers put in consent to develop, councils cannot approve it because our infrastructure is not fit for purpose to allow for those developments. Yeah. So how do we actually invest in our underground aging pipes so that we can actually address that? Some of it will go a long way in terms of housing supply and allowing developers to develop. So and this is the thing that I find at the moment, if it's not visible in the community, people don't actually put a lot of attention to it. But we do need to look at what's happening under the ground.
True.
Pipes and aging infrastructure may not be sexy topics to discuss, but they are very, very important. We need to get our fundamentals right. True. We need to get our basics right, which is our pipes, our water infrastructure, our wastewater, our stormwater. We need to make sure that that works properly and that it can actually cater for the increase in population that we have. So in terms of addressing that, I would push for getting our 3 waters right.
Great, thank you. All right, another one. What are your thoughts about the rates? Can they be reduced so that every common man, every citizen can afford them?
Fantastic question, actually. In terms of rates affordability, the rates have actually gone higher than inflation rates. And everybody is hurting. When I opened my rates bill, it actually hurt because it's painful. And I've spoken to so many people, and that is a topic of
Biggest
discussion.
topic, yes.
Yeah. So there's a number of things. I don't think we can freeze rates or we can dramatically reduce it without reducing the services that we have. So this is where my election platform comes in, doing business smart. Basically, what are some of the smart choices we can do? One of the ideas I have is how do we bring in shared services across council? So when we are procuring, we can do we can do it in a joint way that will reduce some cost to our councils at the moment. How do we also go to central government and ensure that every central government mandate that is there comes with matching funding so that the ratepayers aren't always picking up the bill? The other thing councils can also do is what are we doing in terms of our everyday expenses as well? We can't use debt to cover for everyday expenses. So we need to be mindful in terms of how we spend and how we do. The other thing I want to also raise is procurement. I actually I'm a procurement specialist as well. That's my day job. So that's the skill set that I can bring to the table as well at a governance level. In terms of, are we doing smart procuring? Like, are we procuring services well? Are we using fit for purpose procurement measures as well? So all of those things matter. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Great insight. All right. What initiatives will you introduce to promote environmental sustainability in Hamilton?
I've spoken about the three waters. One of the
Yes.
things is storm water. And at the moment, climate change, people, and I am surprised that there are still climate change deniers in our community actually. Climate change is real. Extreme weather patterns are real at the moment. Hamilton is seeing significant increase in rainfalls. Last year we saw what Auckland experienced, which was extreme flooding because the drainage and everything else was blocked, etc., etc., etc. The property damages was huge. We actually have an aging infrastructure again, and our storm water is under pressure. So one of my priorities would be infrastructure investment, so that our storm water is when we do have extreme weather events, our storm water can manage that, and we don't experience flooding and all of that. So environmental sustainability for me would be around our infrastructure. How do we actually have a robust, fit for purpose 2025 infrastructure in place to cater for extreme weather events?
Great, thank you. All right, you spoke about value-driven public-private partnership. Already you shared a little bit about, but can you please share your thoughts and your views on this?
So public-private partnership is very, and a disclaimer would be that it needs to be values fit, right? And what we need to do is bring like-minded people around the table to address the wicked problems that we have. Infrastructure is a big problem we have.
Sure.
Community, investing in community safety is a big issue. We can sort that with designs. Revitalizing CBD, at the moment our businesses are hurting, and community safety is a huge issue. So in terms of those wicked problems that we have, if we have amazing public-private partnership and intelligence around the table, I think the answers that we get is going to be away from the current status quo. So what we need to do is, if we have an issue, we need to bring, a person cannot always have the answers, right?
True.
We need to have different stakeholders around the table so that we can talk about how can we do things intelligently in a smart, future-focused way. So that's the proposition I was addressing. And if I'm lucky to be elected, that's one of the things I would bring diverse voices around the table so that we can talk about intelligent solutions and make it happen.
Amazing, thank you. Do you think existing public transportation is efficient, or do we need to make some major changes so that we are ready for the future, as Hamilton is one of the fastest growing city in the country?
So again, I'll go back to the question of what is council's role in that. So in terms of the efficiency of public transport, like the bus timing, the train timing, and the route, etc., that's the role of the Waikato Regional Council. Hamilton City Council's role is in terms of the public transport infrastructure, which is the roads, the bus stands, the how the bus stands are designed, bus stops are designed, how the transport center is safe and organized. So in terms of that particular aspect of it, I think council actually has done a lot of good work in that, in making sure that our bus stops are safe. Our transport center did not get any investment for the last few years, so they have done a revamp in terms of that. And the design element also speaks of how do we make it a safe environment for people to use public transport. So I think in that regard, give credit where credit is due. So I'll give our council, they've done amazing work in terms of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. All right. What measures will it take to reduce the homelessness and provide the support in those in need?
It's a complex issue, actually, Vaishali. Homelessness there's a number of reasons why we have got to where we are. And part of it is drug and alcohol, mental health issues. You ask me, what is the role of councils in that? I think council is not a social service provider, but council has in principle a role to work alongside and advocate for how do we actually address some of these issues. So what can we do? I think there are amazing organizations that are working to address that particular issue. Council can advocate for central government funding to those social service providers that are working in those areas. Council can have conversations and spotlight issues. So the advocacy role that council has, they can do that and work alongside central government to address some of the issues. The major thing at the moment in New Zealand is we have a very siloed approach to drug and alcohol and mental health. We don't have a wraparound service in communities that allow for people to access that service. So if that was something that could be provided by central government funding to NGOs to address some of that, I think that will go a long way.
Oh, that's great. Actually, I was going to ask you, how you will support mental health services and addiction recovery programs in the city. So is that something in council's hand, or is it?
So council does provide grants, but it's a very small amount of grants. So it doesn't go far enough. What we need is philanthropic and government funding to help. And actually, it's government priority at the moment. It should be government responsibility. Central government should be able to fund a wraparound service around mental health and drug and alcohol addiction, actually. And so that wraparound will go a long way in helping address some of the key issues that we have in our city. I would say what is council's role in that is create that awareness in partnership so that a sheer amount of funding does come to Hamilton City as a growing city to be able to address some of it. It's quite a complex issue at the moment, but it's not an impossible issue, and this is where I say if you have public-private partnership and you have intelligent people around the table, you can come up with solutions. And some of the things we have to realize is central government has a huge role to play because councils do not have all of the monies in the world to solve all of the problem. What is council's role? I would say advocacy. A strong advocate for Hamilton City to spotlight some of the issues. And central government hopefully can pick up some of the tab and fund adequately, fund end-to-end services, not just the ambulance at the cliff, but preventative programs that help address that issue. I've known so many families at the moment that are struggling. And mental health and drug and alcohol abuse, substance abuse is an issue. Do we have a rehabilitation center in Hamilton? Do we have a wraparound? We do have some services, but are they funded adequately? Answer is no. Are they culturally responsive? all of these things need to be asked, and I think the funding stream sits more with central government than with local government.
Okay, so that will solve a lot of problems if these things get looked at.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right. Already you talk about a little bit about small businesses, but I would like to still ask you, how do you support local small businesses? Do you have any plans in your mind?
At the moment, if we take a step back and look at what our business is contributing, 66% of every dollar spent gets circulated back in our economy. So our small businesses and businesses in general are contributing a lot to they are the economic engine of Hamilton City, actually. So what can councils do? One of the real live issue at the moment is businesses in Hamilton CBD are struggling. And there is parking politics that is happening. And there's 2-hour parking suggestion and 1-hour parking plan. I think the answer lies with the businesses. How do they see what will help them support, what support mechanisms should be placed in terms of how we can help them. Yes. So I think I'll say I don't come with answers. I come with the ability to listen to the issue and create co-partnership and working with our local businesses in terms of how do they see councils as a better partner to them. How can businesses how can council be a better partner to the business? I think that's the question and that's the conversation that needs to be there rather than have a ready-made solution to address that.
That's great. That is true. Still, I will ask you, what are your thoughts on parking at the CBD?
So
at this stage.
To that I will say, I am an independent candidate. So I do not belong to any political party, nor do I align with any other candidates at this moment. I am an independent person. So I think the answer is in terms of, I would go, do we want a 1-hour parking or 2-hour parking? What I've heard from businesses is 2-hour parking actually helps. Having said that, 1-hour parking creates a high turnover in terms of people coming in, doing their business and going, and that creates free car parks at the moment. I think the solution is between 1-hour and 2-hour car park at the moment. What that may look like, I don't have a plan, but I think we can incentivize businesses who, like if you're a customer going into shop, right, and you're there for more than 2 hours, there should be an incentive for you to have free parking, and that could be done in a way of like you have a receipt, you validate it, and then you got the free park. So without any penalty as such. So, it can't be just a blanket 1 hour, a blanket 2 hour. There needs to be a solution somewhere in between which allows for businesses to retain their customers for the 2 hours or however long they do the business. My mum would take public transport to the city with her friends. She'll watch a movie, she'll have something to eat, and then she'll shop. That's actually 3 hours there.
True.
She has a car, her friends have a car, but the parking issue is a huge one at the moment.
True.
Because you don't want to be stuck with a huge $80 fine.
Honestly, talk about that.
Exactly.
Yes, that's a different problem.
So exactly, and so what happens is we have pendulum politics. We go from one extreme to the other, and then common sense gets lost sometimes. I guess, how do you make pragmatic decisions, thinking about and make a customer-centric decision?
True.
So I think if you were to say 1 hour or 2 hour, I'm not going to get into that. I think a practical, pragmatic solution would be, how do businesses incentivize their customers to come in, and if they're spending a large amount or whatever, they get free park. Because if you go to Chartwell or to the base, you can stay there for 5 hours. What we need is increased foot traffic and people back into CBD. and we need businesses. We need customers, and customers can sustain the businesses, and vice versa. We don't need a dead CBD. We need a vibrant, active, full of life CBD.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Saying that, actually, what are your thoughts on the center place, that garden place? Or what are your thoughts? Can anything be done there? Or I think one of the I've seen updates that someone is talking about selling it, someone is talking about creating something. So what are your thoughts on, can anything be done there to attract the people?
Absolutely. Actually, I love the CBD itself. And have you heard of Boon Festival?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then have you heard of all of the Chinese New Year celebrations during Christmas?
Yes.
So our public space, in terms of garden space, during summer, it's used really, really well.
Right, yes.
Yeah, because of community events, they breathe life, and it's used exceptionally well. Again, this is where having diverse voices around the table to discuss how can we revitalize CBD will be important. Why don't we partner with the arts sector? Why don't we partner with community events? Why don't we partner with cultural communities that are doing so many things? Why don't we bring them to the CBD? Why don't we create a platform, allow them to have events and revitalize, bring different cultures together, have different food stalls together, like you are doing a Mela, right? In 2 weeks' time. Why couldn't that be held in the CBD? I know it's going to be cold, but at the moment, because we are winter, but there is, if we had a calendar full of events, and if we had a space which was multi-purpose, which would allow people to gravitate and come to CBD, that's the heartbeat of Hamilton City.
True.
Yes. And we need to revitalize our heartbeat. We can't be a dead city. We need to bring culture back. We need to bring community back. We need to make sure that our CBD is thriving with businesses. I think we can do so much. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of people who are willing to roll their sleeves up and breathe life into our CBD. So I think we just need to listen, and we need to be able to partner well.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, even I have personal attachment with the city center or garden place, because when kids were little, we always used to go around and we used to do a lot of things. So it is really a great place to work on. Great. Thank you. All right. So we come to the interesting one now. We don't have audience question 8. I'm going to ask you, what are the top 3 things Hamilton needs right now? Just summarize kind of thing.
Okay, the top 3 things would be, we need to make sure that we have fit for purpose infrastructure, which is our physical as well as community infrastructure. We have a affordable city so that our young families, our retirees, and our businesses can afford to actually live, thrive, and do business in our community. And thirdly, we need to celebrate our diversity and inclusiveness. So we need to partner with our mana whenua, partner with our diverse communities, and celebrate what makes us unique as Hamilton City.
That's amazing, Jenny. Thank you so much. All right. Now, real interesting one comes. If you are given $1 million grant right now, what would you use it on?
$1 million grant. Oh gosh, that's a very hard question. $1 million grant doesn't go far enough. But what I would do is, I'm part of the Waikato Community Lands Trust. And that is a trust that was actually helped set by Hamilton City Council. And that is set up to address affordable housing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I would reinvest that $1 million into the Waikato Community Lands Trust, because as a trust we do an amazing job to address the pipeline of affordable housing. So that investment will go far.
That's amazing. Thank you. All right. Thanks for all your knowledge and your plans sharing with us. It's really great to hear you and your plans. We wish you good luck. Before we end up, do you have any message for audience, or would you like to say anything to the audience, please?
Awesome. Well, kia ora, Hamilton. I want to thank Vaishali and her family for creating a space for me to come in, present my ideas. I want to encourage you to vote. Vote 1, Jenny Nand. And if you want to, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as on Instagram. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'm always accessible and always happy to answer your question. Vote 1, vote Jenny Nand. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. We wish you good luck. And yes, doesn't matter whom you vote, please check everyone's campaigns and whatever aligns to your own values, please do vote. Thank you. See you again.